The mod is very slightly, to my ears anyway, the mod is very slightly different from the Bendix, but it's fine. And I was surprised when you said it basically is a sideband transmitter. So I think it's performing very well. I guess that with a lot of this stuff from that era, I'm not sure what period it's from, but probably early 60s, I would imagine, late 50s. Where we're sort of trying to leave AM behind, which is understandable because of the from a communications point of view, the benefits of sideband region. But from a hobbyist point of view, it's the other way around, as far as I'm concerned, anyway. Even when you tuned it in, it didn't really make that much difference. Maybe a couple of dB at the most, but hard to tell because there's a bit of QSB. When you came back on the Bendix, you were peaking at around 10/9, whereas earlier you were peaking at 15. So there are some differences to take into account. Just tweak something. Right. Yeah, well, the wind's peaked up here as well now, Brian. It's still not as bad as it was the other day, but we're so sick of this. But I think this is a front that's coming through, and hopefully by lunchtime it will have gone through and probably be up in your neck of the woods lows. Much better on your last over lows, back to 5 and 7. So I'm not sure what happened before, but whatever it was, it rendered you unreadable from this location. And you're still a good signal, Brian. One thing we found with this winter this year, it just seems to have dragged on. I always think that. And when we were in our, let's say, more affluent period, we used to go off somewhere warm and sunny in around February time for a couple of weeks. Barbados was a favourite, and that sort of broke up the winter terrifically, and used to come back from that absolutely, utterly refreshed. And the great thing was to be in one of the Barbados bars watching the Six Nations rugby. And believe me, those bars used to get absolutely rammed full, mostly with Brits. But anyway, interesting. Right, I'll move it back down to you then, Brian. 20, sorry, looking at the home port side. G4 LJC, GU4 LJC, F4 VSC.
Of course, only I was as young as a 2E0 call there. Ian from GU4 LJC. Yeah, fine. Yes, I guess so. Warming it up in the winter. But there we are. There's some very cheap holidays going in Carnival, I think. Whether it's any warmer or not at this time of year, I'm not sure. But it could be. Yeah, well, very, very interesting. Yeah, it was just a couple of dBs down on your signal strength from your Bendix, as far as I could see, but bear in mind that, albeit you're a good strong signal, there is the QSB indicated on the S meter, so it makes it difficult to get an absolute, but it's not a lot of difference. And the audio, I said the difference was that there's less bass in the audio. It's not unnice, it's very nice, and it's just a little less bass than the Bendix. So it's doing a good job. Sorry to hear about the flashover. Well, in this spay, the tuning, the PA tuning cap is not that wide spaced. It's an Edison one they used with the ceramic end, but that I could see it. I have to clean it all up. It's little but it had done. You can imagine some trawler guy, not you know, trying to operate it with a massive grade ISWR, he wouldn't have even known, I suppose. If something had broken, he'd just be transmitting and hoping it was getting out. It was definitely been flashed over. But it's not that wide space, not what I would call wide space, but it is a proper transmitting one, and it can probably just about handle a 40 watts. If it was any more, they'd have to increase that, and it's typically more well inside. It's a very compact transmitter as well, very small. It's considerably smaller than the 888A. It's very much smaller, and everything is landing in is a massive great modulated transformer which takes up about half the room on the chassis. So there we are. Well, there's a copied this through in there, but we were 5 and 9 and just creeping over, so I don't quite know what was wrong. I think it had something to do with the tuning. But what a difference, Les. Whatever you did, it worked. It definitely worked. Yes, the rain is here proper now, everything's getting wet. It was nice and dry when I went to get the milk, and I must have just gone in time because I came into the factory, took my shoes off, and my hat on my top, and looked out the window and there was spots of rain on the window, so I just missed it. So there we are. Right, round to you, Les. 20 IBM to 4LJC with the group.
5 and 9 Brian, as Ian and of course Paul is as well. Talking about Barbados, it's a slight tangent, but Channel 5 last night, I switched on, got most of the program, I was just flicking through the channels, quite something, and very, very interesting documentary. It just makes you think how the
geschlagen hat und alle haben sich rausgeholt. Und dann
eh ben oui, il n'y a pas de changement, hein. 59 plus, c'est très bon, regarde. Ça passe bien.
Ils enterrent les fils électriques, les fils téléphoniques et tout ça.
Tu sais que c'était
the stock out of a telephone, mobile phone exchange, and that is very linear and doesn't, you know, it just works extremely well.
Trauma thing was quite good, Alan. It's a really good story, and it finishes tonight.
The antenna, also I'm on the wrong antenna. So, of course, when I came to tune up a few moments ago...
Morning, Jeff. Just all is well there. So yeah, I made this one more final, and great to hear everybody this morning. And
story, grass was on the right side. Of course, it was then sold. Which is very, very sad, but there you are. It's a bit like Concorde. I've always wished I'd managed to go on Concorde and those lovely trips across the Atlantic on a two-wheel liner. Again, the marketing team came out with this brilliant idea of take a 4-day trip across the pond to New York, stay in the one of the top hotels over there and fly back on the Concorde. What a clever idea, but as I say, very sad that she's now languishing in Dubai. Anyway, I'll make this one final because I've got yet another meeting today, got to get to, and I'll hand it round to Paul, and good morning to all shortwave listeners, and round to you for M1PBC. This is 2E0 India Bravo November. Over.
T0 TBI, Waldorf Astoria, Les.
Yeah, morning Stuart. Put it around to you in a moment. Big signal, so I know what you're on. G0 TBI, right, you on the list. 732 Les, 2E0 IBN, M1PBC back. And yeah, well, have a good day, Les. Don't work too hard. Lots of tuning signals during your over. Your over started way down again, Les, but it came up to a decent signal at the end, so maybe it's propagation playing about. Don't know. Anyway, you were Q5 here all the way through. And okay, thanks for the reports on the HT37, guys. I've switched it off now and go back on the service bench. And well, Brian, just going back to this tuning capacitor, I am quite amazed that they got away with a tuning capacitor like this. It's about half, maybe a third of the size of the
becoming between 0600 Zulu and 0800 Zulu, 4000 scattered, ceiling 2000 overcast.
Qui a arqué alors que l'autre, il n'y a rien eu. Et ça a dû partir à la terre après, je pense. Bon, mais non, mais sur le coup, j'ai...
Increased HT volts because I've got solid state, so I'm going to have to increase the size of the resistor I've got in there, ballast resistor, to drop a few volts and produce a bit of heat. I might even put the 5R4G back, HI. But if you read the internet, the transformers on these are very, very prone to going short turns due to insulation breakdown between the heater winding and the high voltage windings. And the first recommendation is throw the valves away and put solid state in and disconnect the heaters so that you don't have that problem, because it's 115 volt wound transformer. Anyway, we will get there, but I am surprised, as I say. Helicrafters, they always look a good product until you actually delve into them, and then you can see that they just didn't have the design flair and the build quality that Collins had. But there you go. Interesting thing. Probably be back in the auction, Stuart. I don't think I got room for it in the shack, and although I got it working, I'm not too impressed. So there you go. Anybody listening wanting an HT37? I know where there is one. HI. Round to you, Stuart, and then if you can pass on to Ian. G0 TBI. I was listening to you yesterday afternoon. You're putting out a good signal here, Stuart. M1PBC.
Which is It's much easier to go through in the format that you send it to me, whereas on the website copy, it appears that you can't sort of scroll it forward or back or whatever. You know, it's pretty static. You try and move it and it won't move. But no, it came through okay on that recording. So thanks again for doing that and taking the time and trouble. What else? Nothing else to report, I don't think. Yeah, doing tests, and I've got much to Ann's discuss. We've got the IC7000 on the table next to the computer, and I've been doing some CW. So I'm practicing up on my CW. They say practice makes perfect, but I doubt it very much. And strangely enough, the night before last, I was scrolling up and down the CW section on 80 meters, trying to get someone on the SRS frequency, where there was obviously no one about. And I went a little bit lower, and clearly I hit upon a fifth frequency. And it was the first call sign I heard, Gerald, G3MCK. So I called him and he came back to me. So that was very nice, very nice. Anyway, I'm just about to pour the tea into the pot. I've just had my orange juice, and I'll pass it to you, Ian. I'm not sure who else is on the frequency, and I heard you say there were carriers there, Paul. It wasn't me. I suppose you would have heard my carrier, HI, but it is annoying, isn't it, when carriers come up? And even when you're testing in an afternoon, you'll hear carriers, and yet dummy loads are freely available. I mean, my dummy load walks around the house, and quite often I'll get it and hold the end of the aerial wire, and that's the easiest thing to do, HI. In fact, no, my dummy load is on the floor. There's the sound of it. In fact, I'll lift it up and tell you what it is, just out of curiosity and interest. I bought this several years ago from the rugby rally. And it was a bargain. And this particular one is a Tourmaline coaxial resistor model 8141, 250 watts, 50 ohms. Bird Electronic Corporation, Cleveland, Ohio. How about that? And he had loads of these, this particular guy, but it was about 15, 20 quid. Unbelievably cheap. So that's it. I'll pass it to you, Ian. And if I don't come back on the next go, you'll know that I'm getting ready to go out the door. Foxtrot Victor Sugar Charlie, G0 TBI in the group.
Well, yes, good morning, Stuart. We're 10 over 9 here in central Brittany, where it's raining and windy and not very warm, 3 degrees in fact. And okay on Gerald, MCK. Haven't seen Gerald for a while. Always used to have a nice chat with him at AGMs and things. And yes, regarding recordings on the website, it is odd. I agree with you. You can't sort of fast forward through them and search out various bits and pieces. And I don't know why that is. I've no idea. I've tried opening it with different software here, but it doesn't make any difference. I can't seem to get round it. Normally you've got to listen right through the whole lot. I think you can move forward in very, very tiny amounts. But if you go too far, it just takes you off the end of the recording and it's gone. You have to start again. Nice bit now. But anyway, it's a quite nice facility, I think, on the website for people who want to hear what their signals are like. And okay, on the pygmy bulb, well, I had one go here, which I managed to find a replacement for, and actually I'm looking at the meter where I replaced it, and it's not in there. So I don't know if I've blown it again. I made a hell of a job finding them. This is a 12-volt one. That's really annoying. Hopefully it's just a bad connection, but I fear that it's not the case. And in fact I got them in the end. It's a bayonet type pygmy bulb, or they call it a what do they call it? Peanut bulb or something like that. It came from a historic car company selling parts for historic cars. There you are. And okay, on the Waldorf Astoria, yes, it never stayed there, but have been there. They used to have an oyster bar, and I have a love of oysters, and I had to go in there. There was a group of us, and nobody else would eat oysters, except me. Just opposite Central Park there. Beautiful hotel, honestly. And Les, if you are still listening, Queen Mary. Yes, interesting how the German shipyard had all sorts of problems. As I recall, it was vibration, wasn't it, that was the big problem. And I guess you've got some huge shafts there, and if the prop is slightly off balance, I don't know how many props the QE2 has, whether it's more than one, but if it's slightly off balance, obviously there's going to be vibration. But I will remember that sort of thing on my boat. Getting them balanced properly was an art, and finding the right engineers who were capable of doing it, and profiling the props to get you at the ultimate performance for your particular boat. It's very clever how they did it. They were very skilled, those guys. HT37, I know nothing about it, Paul, other than what you've said. I'd be interested in seeing a picture if there is one anywhere. I haven't done a search on the internet, but if you've got one on your QRZ site, I'll have a look at that. And I think that's all the notes I've got here. So it goes back over to you, Brian. And you may not be able to hear it, but the rain is now lashing down. G4LJC with a pause, F4VSC. On the pause, very quiet on the pause there. From G4LJC, a terrific signal in, absolutely terrific signal. And good morning to Stuart, who was also very well on about 15/9, Stuart. And yes, pick. RIGPIX, I think it is. Look at that on, search that on Google, look at rig pick, and then you'll see all the various makes of the equipment down the left-hand side of the screen, and just pick the right one, and you should see a picture of it there. Ian, rig pick, on it from the end. So it's rig and then PIX, if I remember rightly. And that'll find the picture up for you, I'm pretty sure. The handicrafters, T37, I can't remember now, in on the Google line, and that'll take you, just hit on the pictures mode, and it'll keep dozens of them, I should think. The only aircrafters I've had anything to do with, Paul, are what they call UHF, which we now call VHF, but they were all known as UHF, S37, S36s and S27s and those, and they've always been a reasonable quality, I thought.
but they will be with higher frequencies. Maybe they took some more care, and of course all bus receivers rather than transmitters, and acorn valve from the front end, an oscillator, and mixer, I think, all acorns, you know, the 655s or 155s and 156s and that range of acorns. But there we go. I'm going to make this my final for my breakfast, so I'll go get some shopping to do this morning. I want to get to the store before it gets full up because it's double divvy day. So it's well worth having 8%. It's better than you can get at a bank. It marks up over the year, and then you can pull the money out if you want, or spend it, or whatever you want to do. From the post office there, Richard there, you'll look after that side of it. Right, not much. Oh, Paul, I haven't looked at the crystal yet, the 21.5 meg, but I will do probably today. I just didn't get chance yesterday for one reason or another. Yeah, I seem to be very busy all day long and getting nowhere, if you know what I mean. I seem to achieve very little, but it seemed to me that I was rushing around all day. My type of rushing isn't normal person's nowadays, I don't think, but you know what I mean anyway. So there's a sign, so I'll put it up to you, Paul, and I'll say something, and catch up with you all again in the morning if the place is still here, unless it's the anchor slips, we might be up by a start point or somewhere. N1 PVC to 4 LJC with the group. 730.
GU4 LJC, N1 PVC. 73 Brian. Your signal's been pretty constant today at about 10 over 9, so absolutely no problem. So enjoy the double divvy. I think I've been threatened with the shops today as well, and threatened with the need to go out to lunch. Oh dear, oh dear. Anyway, I'll do it. At least it's brighter here today. Filthy day yesterday, rainy, windy and what have you, but it's going to return here, but the morning is going to be bright, and at the present moment the sun is out, so shock horror. Stuart, you're 25 over 9, so you're top of the shop, as they say. And Ian, yeah, the Hallicrafters HT-37, that's what you put into Google. There are loads of pictures. It's reasonably attractive, it's not brilliant. What it was the cheapened up version of the HT-32. So the HT-32 was the deluxe, and the HT-37 was more the bargain basement transmitter. It's transmitter only, designed for amateur radio, so aimed at that fraternity. It was a sideband transmitter. It is quite large and quite heavy. It's only marginally smaller than the DX-100 and only marginally lighter. It weighs 80 pounds. And by the time you take into account the fact that it's a 115 volt mains input, so you need an auto transformer, then you're about the same size and weight as a DX-100, if not more, and you're only getting a quarter of the output power. But it does do sideband, which of course the DX-100 doesn't do. And yes, Brian, as I say, I think the Hallicrafters quality, it's there, and they do a good job, but they don't go the extra mile, unlike Collins. And there are warts. One of the warts in this is this wretched capacitor, because they had the room to put a bigger, wider space component in, and I'm sure, as I say, with the valve rectifiers, everything cleaned up nicely and pristine, it could just about do it, but any dampness in the shack and it would be flashing over like mad. I've not seen a capacitor with that narrow spacing before used for those sort of powers. and it's certainly narrower than the usual Eddystone runs. So there you go. But I'll take it out. It's easy to get out, and I'll drop it in the ultrasonic tank and let it rumble away, and put it back and see what difference that makes. Anyway, it's something to work on. As I said the other day, Stuart, I just kept my hand up a little bit too long at that auction. It came from not the last auction, the auction before, I think. It came from, there was a fair number of Hallicrafters sets, if you remember. It's a 1960s piece of equipment, and it was in reasonable condition, but there you go. As I say, I really haven't got the need for it, so I'll probably move it on. We can go back in the auction again, but we'll play with it a bit more. So back to you, Stuart, if you're still there. G0TBI, M1PBC.
Yep, M1PBC, G0TBI. Yeah, as soon as I started to think about it, HT37, I very soon realised it must have been Hallicrafters. And of course I just typed it into the computer just before you were talking about what to type in, and there it popped up. But I had a thought in my brain that it may have had something to do with Sunday's last rally at Harlow, Didcot Harlow. One of our members, some of you will know him, first name Luke, had a stall, you know, and quite a few bits and pieces, a very nice Sun Air 80, not ATU, PA. I was really lusting after that, but in the end I was umming and ahhing because it was so big. But somebody else came along, thankfully another one of our members, and bought it. But he also had a Hallicrafters receiver on the floor. And I've had one in my time as well, but to my shame, sadly, it lay in a storage room, an outdoor storage room, for quite a while, and unfortunately the dial perished and flaked off, and there's nothing you can do really, is there? I understand from the BVWS guys that, and Ian will know about this with the screen printing and stuff, and I don't know whether you've ever been involved in it yourself, Paul. I certainly haven't, but I understand that it can be resurrected by making a copy of another one. I don't know what the process is at all. I don't know how it works, how that functions. But no, I thought HT. The other question was as well. Weren't they predominantly 110 volts, or was it 115? The American voltage, because the one I had, that was, and it was a good job I looked once upon a time at the label just before I did test it, and it did work. But as I say, the front panel came away and perished. So yeah, Waldorf Astoria, QE2, yep. Now, I'm pretty sure it was the QE2 that I've worked on 2 occasions. The ship's doctor was a licensed radio ham, and I'm going back now. I don't know, when did we have the D-Day celebrations? No good with dates without sitting down and calculating it. Must have been about 10-12 years ago, and I worked them on that occasion. I was actually in the garden, and I think I'd got my modern black box out in the garden, the Kenwood 450, the good old faithful. Coming from the equipment. I'm trying to talk a little bit shallower now. What happens if I turn the microphone to the side? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's side onto the microphone, speaking across it, and that's back talking in front of it. I'll get this right one of the days. But going back to the ship's doctor, I worked him twice, and not a bad signal. And in fact, I have got a QSL card somewhere from the QE2. Where that is, I do not know. But yeah, good stuff. And I thought the whole program was quite interesting. And Concorde. I said to Anne actually, I said when they spoke about the teaming up with Concorde, well, of course, we had Her Majesty come to Hong Kong in the mid-70s to see us, and I'm pretty sure that the QE2 also docked at the same time, and then it couldn't have been much different in the time before Brian Trubshaw brought Concorde over and through the harbour and then landed at the airport. So lots of things going on in the mid-70s there. Right, I'll pass it back and I've got to crack on now to get ready to go out. So I'll say 73 to you all, and I can hear that again, that ringing noise. 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 1, 1. No, it stopped again now. Almost sounds as though it is one of the valves that's just sort of over-vibrated, if you like. Back to you, Ian, then, and I won't come back. F4VSC with M1PVC, G0TBI now off and clear.
This is Papa Alpha 3 Bravo Hotel, PO3 Bravo. So just for a quick break, please.
Yes, go ahead, Trevor, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Just a quick break. I want to review the in a few minutes, so I just thought I'd have a quick listen and see what conditions are like. We're on the earth today, but conditions are pretty lousy for 30 metres, and skip distances are up in the few hundred kilometres, so it might just work. We'll be on at midday if anybody wants to join us, but we'll see. I'm not going to stay on. I just wanted to voice you and sign off and say good morning to everybody, and then I'll just listen for a minute or two, and then I'll go QRT. So nice signal from you, Ian, and nice signal from you, Stuart, as well. I haven't heard very well. So over to Foxtrot 4, Victor Sierra Charlie, Papa Alpha 3 Bravo Hotel, over.
Yes, okay, Trevor. Well, nice signal from you too. Absolutely 100% copy. I didn't look at the S-meter, so sorry about that, but no problem at all. And Stuart, well, I've taken a recording of your audio. I'll send it to you. From my point of view, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's my own point of view. I mean, you can, like with most people's audio, you can pick out bits and pieces and say, it's doing this and it's doing that, but I don't mind it at all. So anyway, you can hear it for yourself, but I wouldn't fret over it, frankly. And the Concorde. Well, as I said earlier, some winters we managed to get a holiday in Barbados and on the west coast, and the Concorde used to fly in, and it would do a low pass all down the west coast of Barbados, because for the benefit of everyone on the beach. And it was advertising, really. That's what it was all about. And used to get people standing and clapping and all sorts of things like that. It was really quite extraordinary. The Americans just loved it. They thought it was fantastic, because I guess most of them had never seen it. Those of us who were living near Heathrow at the time certainly used to hear it and regularly saw it. So it didn't have perhaps quite the same kudos with us. That was a nice aeroplane. Well, I pulled up a picture of the HT-37, and I can see exactly what you mean, Paul. I've got a picture in front of me of the, or I did have, I've just lost it, of the image. That's really, oh no, there it is. And I can see the tuning capacitor, my goodness. Yeah, I'm sure I've got receive ones that are more widely spaced than that. But other than that, it doesn't look bad. On the inside, it looks fairly nicely laid out and so on. But anyway, I take your point. Well, you've got it working, Paul, and it's sounding very good. So I'm sure there'd be somebody who'd be more than happy to take that on, because I think it's worth keeping it going on the air. Maybe somebody could just replace the capacitor, the tuning capacitor. I've got one that would do very well in there, but I'm hanging on to it. And I'm pleased to report that my the bulb that was unlit, I've just moved the wiring very slightly, and it burst back into light again. So maybe I've got to look at that. And I've now dug out the old bulb just in case that that was the original cause of the problem. But the old bulb has a big black smear inside it, so I'm fairly certain it has failed. Right. I think I may well make this a final. I'll put it back round to you, Paul. Stuart's gone now. Brian's gone, and there's nobody else around. You can give Trevor a report. I wasn't quite sure, Trevor. You said that 40 wasn't sounding, or wasn't looking from a propagation point of view very good for lunchtime, but I take it that's where you're going to be on 40, on the usual frequency. So I quite often forget. I get tasked with doing other things and I forget about it until it's too late. But if you're still there, you may want to just give us, tell us what time that would be. Round to you, Paul. M1PVC. As I say, I'll make this a final. F4VSC. Good morning.
Just a quick break, Paul.
Yeah, go ahead, Stuart.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about you purchasing that helicopters at the auction. Of course, there's so much stuff that comes through. And a typical example is I was having a conversation with Bronick last night or the night before on the telephone, and he reminds me that this time we're going to be dealing with 270 lots. I don't know how I do it, I really don't, HI. But, yeah, good stuff, and I can't even remember what ever happened to my helicopters that was once upon a time in a storage room at, an outdoor storage room at the TA. But I think I took it to a rally, to be honest with you, and somebody gave me 25 quid for it, something silly. And that Ajax that you once had, I'm pretty sure that came from me, you know. I had an Ajax and I put it into a VMARS auction, and probably about 2 years ago now. But I might be wrong on that. Anyway, and good morning to Trevor. 5 and 7 here, Trevor. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be back in time. I've got to go into Brum first off, and then whether or not I have to wait for them or come back. If they say come back in 4 hours, that's it. I'll bomb back here. It only takes 25-30 minutes in the Beamer to get back here, so I might just have a listen. And I think, isn't that normally about 12:30? I think so, anyway. What's that, Paul?
G0TBI, M1PVC, yes, okay, Stuart. And, well, the Ajax that I've got, it came from the Wimborne rally quite a few years back from a, well, the guy's a trader, but I can't really describe him. He has a box van and all of his stuff he just throws in the back, and then he pulls it back on the ground. I don't know if he's a VMARS member or not. He's certainly not, what should we say, the world's best communicator when it comes to social graces. And he doesn't haggle, but he charges reasonably cheap prices. And I bought that Ajax from him, and a LTEC switch mode power supply to run it on at the same time, and they were quite cheap buying both of them. And I did ask him to open it up, and when he opened it up, he'd already told me how much he wanted for it, and when he opened it up and saw the TT22s in it, he said, oh, if I'd have known they were in there, I wouldn't have sold it at that price. I can get more than that for the single valve. Anyway, there you go. Fond memories. And yes, the Halicrafters. Yes, there was quite a bit of Halicrafters gear in that particular auction. There was a very nice linear, you probably remember. And really that's what this rig could do with. Because when I was testing it on the equipment with an audio generator, it was actually transmitting a beautiful sine wave with no distortion, but again only at lower powers, so you know, it's quite capable of producing low power, very good quality double sideband, and put through a linear. It would make a very nice station indeed for somebody, but I don't have the room or the need here. Got plenty of sideband rigs, got plenty of AM rigs, just something to play with and increase one's knowledge. And yes, Ian, the more I look at that capacitor, the more I think, well, how did it work in the first place? But it obviously did. So using Keith's rule, if it worked originally, it should still work. I'm sure we can get it working, but I think at maximum power, everything is near the knuckle, and because I've increased the HT volts from about 750 up to 825 by doing a conversion, that extra 75 volts is making a difference, plus no doubt a bit of muck in the capacitor, so we'll tame it. We'll get there. I do have a DX100 tuning capacitor spare, but like you, I was hanging on to it. It's not really put that in there. But you could just about squeeze it in, there's enough room. And yes, it's very well laid out. The sideband generator is a work of art with this phasing. You can see the three transformers on the top laid out so that they don't magnetically couple. And it's a work of art. And just quickly on the audio, it is of course tailored, the bandwidth. There are filters to keep it within 3K. And there are modifications on the internet where the Americans rip all that out and produce wideband audio of high quality from these rigs. I won't be doing that either. Have a great day, guys. F1PVC, listening on the frequency, did not call down QRT.
Yeah, 7-3 Paul, 7-3 any listeners, F4 VSC.
And 737 PA KB8 sending case still listening. It's midday UK time, PA 38, so QRT now. Hello everyone.
You're 10 over here, Trevor. Sorry, didn't acknowledge you. I won't be on your net again. Anne wants to go out to lunch. It's a usual Wednesday thing, I'm afraid. But have a great day anyway. F1PVC going QRT.
Yeah, okay, Paul. Well, I think skip distance will more or less preclude that. I think we're just that little bit too close. Skip distance is a little bit more like 500. So people in the west we can get through to, but not the east. So with that, push up degrees. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
And I never use it. I can't be bothered, Dave, over.
Yeah, okay. Well, pick up Barry in Scotland. Barry, you copying Wolf?
Yes, copying all the stations today, loud and clear. I think the only station I couldn't hear was one in Falkirk, which is not all that far away from me. But the green works very, very well. Back to you, go.
Okay, you're 5-9 in London now, Barry. Golf 4, Sugar X-ray 5-9, excellent signal, over.
Yes, thank you for your signal report. Cracking signal up to me here in Scotland, over.
Yeah, you're 5-9, Barry, in London, 5-9.
Yeah, thank you for the signal report in London. You're also 5-9 plus into me here in Scotland. I think the station is Golf 4 Sierra Sierra X-Ray. Is the call sign over?
Yeah, Roger, that's the call sign. Barry into Handley's Wolf, Whiskey, Oscar, Lima, Fox, so 2 THs London, Barry, Northwest London, excellent signal.
Yes, good to hear you, and to speak. Not very familiar with London donkeys yet since I've been down that way. Anyway, back to 2E0, Golf, India, over.
Yeah, GM0 KZX 2E0GGI with the rest of the group there. Well, Wolf, you're blowing me windows out. You're about 25 over the 9 with me. Absolutely booming in. I've had to knock the gain down just a little bit there. It's I turned it up for when Dave went quiet, but like I say, he's still 5.9 plus anyway. But you're just booming in your 5.9 plus good 25 on that last over. I had to just knock you back a bit. Got the headphones on because I was struggling hearing John in Falkirk there. Mike 6 there. DBT, isn't it? John in Falkirk. He was a little bit quiet with me, but he was like about 5 and 8, I think, with me, a bit on the quiet side. So that was, but still not a bad signal with me. This old Wyndham antenna's working quite well. But like I say, I need to improve it. There, Wolf. Yeah, good signal to me. You're still getting me there, Dave. G0EVY, mobile, 2E0GGI, Rob in Warrington, over, Dave.
10 over, Rob, 10 over.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm still receiving you, Rob. You're 5 and 9 plus about 10 to 20 dB with me. Excellent signal. I'm dropping into a place called Stourport on 7. So, Rob, good day to you. Barry, thanks for the chat. Enjoyed it. Hope you had much success with the car there. I'm sure you will have. Not too much of a problem there preparing the modern day car. Wolf, catch you later, either on this frequency or perhaps you'll join me on 80 in the early hours of the morning. Cheers all. Back to you, Barry, and I've got to go to work. Gonna see if I can put some food on the table for the family, Barry, over.
Yeah, clear off. Yeah, 73s, understand about the food. I need to go because I need to get my car down to the garage. Need to leave about 9 o'clock. 73s to everybody. This is Old Mike 0, Kilo Zulu X-Ray, and thank you for the chat. 73s.
Yeah, 73 everyone, catch you all again. 2E0GGI now clear.
Yeah, cheers all, catch you tomorrow. C4SSX clear, cheers all.
73 Wolf.
Yeah, bye, thanks for speaking. Pleasure is all yours.
Cheers, thanks Paul.
I'm not sure. They're not exactly specific as regards distance off the coast, but I mean she's done this used this all the way down. You know, I mean this is not Digi, it's not WhatsApp or Skype or anything. It's just normal texting. You know.
Right.
I'm bloody amazed.
So say she must have connection to some network. I've had a reply, by the way, from Sean Gilbert, G4UCJ, regarding the waterfall I sent him yesterday of 3805 and others.
All right. So what does he reckon?
He says it's inclined. He's inclined to say from the waterfall that this is a Stanag 4285, or it could be one of the others, or a mill standard digital transmission. Stanag is used by all kinds of government organisations, such as embassies, consulates,
and other organizations that require reliable, secure data transfer. Most of the STANAG you hear will be encoded. So even if you do manage to decode it, the text will display as rubbish. I've only decoded a couple of messages on STANAG, and they were just a header and something like a test transmission, and he's given me a couple of links. He says, I've not managed to nail down a location, but given the strength, time, and frequency, it has to be in Europe, probably middle, like Czechia, Slovakia, Poland, maybe even European Russia. Just speculation, of course. I may be wrong, but looking at the waterfall, it certainly looks like STANAG to me.
Right, okay. Pity, isn't it? But we'll probably never be able to encode it.
Interesting that they're used by all kinds of government organizations such as embassies, consulates, and other organizations. There are a number of them, as you know, from 3805 and up.
Yes, indeed. Well, fair enough. I mean, we're not uno percento about the direction, are we too? But it doesn't really matter.
Well, it seems to change, which is quite interesting. I don't know. Could even be British.
Yeah, I suppose.
Since the military standards for this kind of transmission, you know, perhaps they are military. Maybe this is, you know, British embassies communicating with British. I don't bloody know, but it continually transmits. That's the strange thing.
Yeah, but why use a mode and everything on that frequency, that part of the spectrum?
I don't know is the answer. Maybe they had some kit hanging about, but clearly they're not going to send it over the internet because that's much more likely prone to hacking, isn't it?
Well, you say that, but I mean, you know, one would have thought that they would have had a reliable link and it would be encrypted, so there'd be no problem, would there?
Yeah, but if you're transmitting between here and Moscow, say, what would be the easiest way of doing it? You get a radio link from A to B.
Yeah. Maybe the frequency might lend a clue how with propagation and distance-wise that they wanted to span. And that frequency was suitable, you know?
I think it doesn't go off precisely the same time every day, so that implies that there's an individual, I can't say a man anymore, not allowed, an individual who's turning this thing on and off, and it's performing some function or other. Presumably during the night time? Well, that's when the propagation is. It could even be the British Embassy sending messages, you know, to Europe, couldn't it?
Yeah. Given the time and the propagation as we know it, yeah, that would be a suitable distance, wouldn't it?
So it could be the radio equivalent of the diplomatic bag. I mean, if you were going to send messages around Europe, well, and you wanted to do it in a secure way, and you wanted to do it cheaply, what would you use?
Yeah, I know what you mean. It was always fairly interesting to note that most of these embassies had Yargies and beams on the top of their embassies, didn't they, years ago?
Yeah, they tend to use more stealth type, but the damn thing's incredibly strong, and it is audible in New Zealand at times, so it's quite an efficient transmitter.
Yeah.
Or should I say sender, because they doesn't seem to be doing any receiving.
No. Yes, yeah. Thinking about how he. Yeah, that maybe that's a little odd, isn't it? Because it's just sending out.
So it's transmitting information and not expecting anything in return. So I don't know. I get there are all sorts of organisations doing that. It's not breaking any rules. It's not splattering. It's in a military part of the band, and of course we can't find out about it, which immediately suggests that it's government and secret in some way or another.
Yeah.
Because Sean can't find out anything about it either, and we know there are a few of these things dotted up the frequency, so to speak. So yes, maybe there are, Army, Air Force, I don't bloody know. Maybe they just met reports around Europe.
Yeah, there's a thought. He hadn't actually come upon those frequencies until you pointed them out to him then?
No, but only because he doesn't listen there.
No, only lunatics do, only...
Yeah. Anyway, it's interesting. I sent him the waterfall last evening, and he sent an audio clip to confirm it. So, data transmission's a data transmission, really, isn't it? Unless you know how to decode it, it doesn't make a particularly lovely sound.
Oh, they all sound the same.
So does the DRM transmission. Did I tell you he put me onto one from France that runs 24 hours a day? That's 10 kilohertz wide, though.
Yeah, I remember. Well, it was rumoured that Luxembourg were doing it. Remember, it was a few years ago now. God, Howley, that was wide.
Yeah, well, it uses on the short waves, they use the full 10 kilohertz allocation, don't they? Which means that the next station alongside it is also going to occupy its 10 kilohertz as well, so they've got to be remarkably clean. Interestingly, did I tell you I've been looking at a video, this was on Sunday, on Wooferton, made by G4, who looks after the place and lives locally. Well, they were given two transmitters back 25 years ago by the Americans to transmit the VOA. By the way, they're on OptiMods on every one of the transmitters, and there's DRM. It's DRM capable as well, or these two transmitters they've got, and they're the ones they use to transmit DRM from Wooferton.
And what are you saying? That's Voice of America.
Oh, it used to be. Not anymore. I mean, Uncle Sam doesn't pay us to transmit it anymore, so don't know whether even the VOA even exists, does it?
I thought it did. I thought, in my mind, the Voice of America was still going,
Maybe it is, but apparently it had a particularly strong signal into Moscow, so Ronald Reagan sent a few bob and a couple of transmitters over here and paid us money to transmit the VOA for him.
Oh, I'm sure the Russians are very happy with the signal strength.
I'm sure they are. I expect they tune into it all the time, pop pickers.
God, yeah.
Propaganda. Amazing, really, the amount of money that's been spent on it.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know, Howley. Maybe we'll never find out then.
What these transmitter sources are. The only way we're going to find it, I think, is if somebody wanders around with a portable and says, the signal was 1,000 over 9 on some street in London somewhere, and then we'll maybe have a better idea. Or maybe it's coming from some military base somewhere.
Yeah, but somebody is going to be living close by and have 1,000 dB over 9 a signal.
Yes, in the middle of the night or something when the propagation's not there. It's interesting. It isn't dirty, though.
No, I know. Some of the boys have said. I think you have remarked, isn't it? It's pretty tight signal.
Yeah, there are one or two of them. One in particular that's got a damn great carrier right next to it, which must cause it problems, but maybe it doesn't.
Oh, right, okay.
Anyway, it's been interesting.
Yeah, but it's not QED, is it?
No, because it's secret.
Yeah. Tell me about this that was on the telly with the Lynette White business then.
Oh, I don't know. I think he's another one of those that whatever his name was, and I can't remember. I keep on saying Lafarge, but that's cement. That bloke who was in prison for her murder, he's due up for release. That's what it's about.
I can't believe that, because it was years and years after it happened that they finally cottoned onto it, didn't they? And surely from thence on, which wasn't that long ago, you must be talking 20 or 30 year sentence at least.
No, well, obviously they didn't give him 20 or 30 years.
Well, I would have thought so.
No. I don't know why they muck up. It's too expensive to imprison people. They'd be far better off just holding a captive ball to the skull. That's much cheaper.
Yeah, because that was they DNA'd a hell of a lot of males in Cardiff and all that, didn't they? That was the one.
Yeah, Terry Holmes and various others, because he was the boyfriend, one of a number, I think.
Yeah, I remember Cockeye telling me all about that, because he knew all that gang. I'm amazed.
M3FBB.
Morning, Dave. How are you?
Morning, Dave and Dave. No problem at all. I used to sit and have coffee with a murderer in the morning.
Really? That's nice for you.
Well, I didn't bloody know, but yeah, we were responsible for something, and it took them years to catch him.
Really? They do say if you're going to be a murderer, you mustn't tell anybody, anyone at all. You keep it entirely to yourself, otherwise you're going to be caught.
Yeah, they got him by DNA, but by his brother.
Well, that's how they got this bloke, apparently. Marvellous.
Yeah, you doubled a bit there. That's how they got the bloke we're talking about, Dave, by DNA in the end, but it was years and years after he had committed the crime.
Yeah, it was somehow through a hospital appointment that the mother had or something, or a relative, and you wouldn't have thought that the police had access to this information. I don't know how it happened, but it was multiple hops. It wasn't straight to him.
Quite. Yeah. Remember when it came on the news? Amazing. Well, we won't question their access to it all. Just thank God that they have access.
I couldn't agree with you more. All this, should be destroying information and fingerprints. Load of rubbish. I think it's perfectly okay for everyone to have their fingerprints on file and their DNA.
So I was just about to say the same thing. With a national DNA register, every little baby that's popping out, immediately take the DNA so it's on record.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely fine. If you've got nothing to hide, why would you care?
Indeed, boy.
Dave?
Yeah, they caught him by his brother. His brother had done something wrong, and they were taking DNA samples off the young chaps all around the county, and it was too close, so that's how they got him. But he used to work with my brother. He used to live with me, and then he used to come every morning, and they used to go and catch the bus together, so he used to come in for a coffee every morning. But you wouldn't think it of the lad, let me tell you.
Really? What was the modus operandi?
He murdered an old woman in Ladybrook in Mansfield. Well, he raped her and murdered her.
Nice chap.
Yeah. Well, the bloke shouldn't be alive. Howdy, I'm sure that bloke was from Treforest, or just up towards Ponty.
Well, he was caught through Llantrisant somehow.
Ah, okay.
Maybe that was the hospital connection.
Yeah. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, he sounds like a real nice chap, that one. I suppose they gave him 2 years in prison, and he's back out, is he, Dave?
No, I think he got a real long stint, actually, because he'd already been previously mugged her and raped her before, I think, so this was the second thing he did.
No, he got away with it the first time.
Well, they got his DNA because she ripped his earring out, but his DNA... Well, I suppose if the theory of what you said, which I probably agree with really, they'd have got him straight away.
Yeah. No, it should exterminate these buggers. Why are we keeping them alive?
Indeed. Oh, bladder.
I think my weather station has run out of battery or something. It's all gone to dashes from outside.
Oh dear. Well, it's 6 degrees here and raining.
Yeah, it's a rechargeable battery though.
Oh, I'm with you. Right, okay.
Do you know, everybody out here talk about them, always got to complain about batteries, you know.
I'm going to see Tracy to have my hair cut today.
Oh, excellent. You're going to see your stylist?
Indeed.
Excellent.
So I'm going to get it all chapter and verse now. Dated.
Oh.
That's what she calls me. I have to be very careful. She says, David, I'm the one with the scissors in my hand.
That's my girl. Well, we got rain here, I reckon, till about 12 o'clock.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a lovely day. I hope you've organised, both of you, the appropriate card of the day.
I'll design something and send it to her, but she said it's been quite windy and rocky on the boat, but she said it was very windy, but it was a warm wind.
We all get those. Dave?
Go on.
Come on, you've organised the card, haven't you?
No, I haven't, and we don't do it.
Well, you'll be in the doghouse.
You think I've done something wrong if I get something?
No, that's with flowers, Dave.
That's with both.
You know, Howley, when I look back, today was one of the biggest days of the florist year, and my missus would... She'd start, yesterday kind of thing and work through the night. And then I'd come down about 6, 7 o'clock and my 2 girls and her mates, and I'd be delivering roses and everything till maybe mid-afternoon,
I know, from the back of a BT van, I know.
Well, sometimes, yeah, but it was just all going for flowers she had. They were thousands of them,
Yeah, well, we are. I know.
But, you see, the thing is, Harry, she was lucky. She was in that period where Tesco and all those type of things hadn't kind of cottoned on to the floral industry, and she got out really just in time,
Right, oh yes. I remember when I was working for Marie Curie, lunchtimes were quite an amazing period because, of course, these young women would... I'd be about the only bloke, apart from me and the vicar, it'd be all women. And I told you the story before. And these women were talking away, and this one woman who was quite outspoken, she said, he got me some flowers and this, that, and the other yesterday. Like a fool, I said, was it a special occasion he was celebrating with you? No, she said, he just wanted to get in my knickers.
Oh dear.
Hey, I've got a get-out clause anyway. She's got my bank card.
I was stunned.
Dear, oh dear. Must have been she must have been from down the docks.
No, Newport.
Explains it all.
I tell you, I learnt so much there. I'd be so embarrassed.
Your initial introduction to the world, if I remember rightly, Howley, was when we were in school and you were working down. You had a little Saturday job in that shop in Cowbridge Road.
Fine Fair supermarket.
God, I remember that, and you, because I'd see you then on the weekend, didn't I? And you used to tell me all the things that all these girls had come out with. I was absolutely amazed.
Well, they were low types.
Yes.
Is there a name for people like that nowadays, like stalkers?
No, no, I was. This was part of my education, Dave. I'd lived a very sheltered. Well, I still do a very sheltered life.
He was a little schoolboy, Dave, and he had a Saturday job in the supermarket there, and came up against Cardiff's finest, all women from all persuasions working there.
Yeah, young women trying to outdo each other.
Boy, getting some bad splatter now.
Ah, it's the Optimod boys.
Yeah.
My first job were printing names on coat hangers.
Could you spell Barbie then?
No, it was a company called Next, and they used to come back with blinking blisters all over me, and they're only 14.
That's what you told your mother.
Aye, Next. I remember that. I don't see them about now. I wonder if they're still going.
Yeah, they are. Listen, boys, I got to make a phone call, otherwise I'll be in the doghouse.
Oh yeah, 9 o'clock. Yeah, go on.
Just say good morning, Dave, from G3IRQ.
A very good morning to you, Peter. GW3XHG. You didn't join us this morning, Peter. Have you been busy?
No, I've just been listening and been re-educated.
Peter, I hardly think so.
Well, it's nice to hear your cheery voice and all the other lads on the net.
Yes, indeed yours, Peter. Conditions were not particularly wonderful or sparkling this morning.
Well, I went on 40 metres and had a listen, and the ZLs came up there for about 15 minutes, really strong, and then they faded to right down into the noise.
What time was that?
It was about 7:30 on 40. About 7:30 on